Fresh homemade bread whenever you want. Sounds good, right? Simply make the dough once, freeze it, and bake fresh bread whenever you need it. No complicated steps, no need to make dough every time. Anyone can make this at home, and the result is perfect bakery-style bread every single time. So let's get started. Let's start with the yeast mixture. You know, this recipe is perfect for anyone who loves baking fresh bread regularly. It saves time, requires less effort, and is incredibly easy to make. In a bowl, I have some water. To that, add instant dry yeast. And the great thing about it is that it doesn't need separate activation. Then add 2 tablespoons of castor sugar and some vegetable oil. Now give everything a good mix and set it aside while we prepare the dry ingredients. For the dry ingredients, I'm using 600 grams of bread flour. That's about 21.15 ounces. Give the flour a quick sift. This helps remove any lumps, gets rid of unwanted particles, and makes the dough smoother and more consistent. Next, add 9 grams of salt and then mix everything together well. Now pour the yeast mixture into the flour, and here comes the best part. You don't even need to knead this dough. Start mixing slowly for a couple of minutes until there are no dry patches left. At first, the dough may look sticky, rough, or a little saggy, but don't worry, that's completely normal. As the flour absorbs the water, the dough will come together beautifully. That's it, easy, right? Now cover the bowl and let the dough rest for 30 minutes. This resting time allows the flour to fully hydrate, which helps develop smoother, softer dough and makes it much easier to work with later. Now transfer the dough onto your work surface and divide it into equal portions. Here I'm using a kitchen scale to make sure every piece is the same size. This helps the dough freeze evenly and bake evenly later. Now shape each piece into a smooth ball. This step is very important. Try to make the surface as smooth as possible with no cracks. If the dough has cracks before freezing, those cracks can become more noticeable later and affect the final appearance of your bread. Once all the dough balls are shaped, place them on a tray that fits comfortably into your freezer. Cover the tray with plastic wrap, then place it in the freezer for about 3 to 4 hours, or until the dough is completely frozen. And that's it. Today's job is done. Easy. You can even make a double or triple batch of dough on the weekend, then freeze it in portions for future baking. Once the dough is fully frozen, remove it from the tray and transfer it into a Ziploc freezer bag or an airtight container, then place it back in the freezer until you're ready to use it. When you're ready to bake fresh bread, simply thaw the dough. You can thaw it at room temperature for about 2 to 3 hours or in the refrigerator overnight if you're planning ahead. One important tip, never thaw the dough using high heat. High temperatures can dry out the surface, affect the texture, and reduce the quality of the final bread. Always thaw it slowly. Room temperature or the refrigerator works best. Once the dough is fully thawed and soft, gently reshape it. Today, I'm making dinner rolls and a bread loaf, but you can shape the dough into any style you like. After shaping, place the dough onto your baking tray or loaf pan and let it go through its final proof. Allow it to rise for about 1 hour or until the dough looks light, airy, and puffy. While the dough is proofing, make sure to preheat your oven. Set your oven to 160 degrees Celsius fan-forced convection or 175 degrees Celsius for a conventional oven. Look at this. The rolls have doubled in size. They're perfectly proofed and ready to bake. Now you can brush the dough with an egg wash for a deeper golden color, but today I'm baking without an egg wash. Bake the dinner rolls for 20 to 22 minutes. For the bread loaf, bake for 28 to 30 minutes. If you're making a different shape or size of bread, keep in mind that the baking time may vary. Larger breads usually need a little more time. And there you go. From frozen dough to freshly baked bread. Soft, golden, fluffy, and incredibly satisfying. Now before we finish, let's go through some of the best tips for making perfect frozen dough bread at home. First one, shape the dough tightly into smooth balls or rolls. Any cracks before freezing can become larger cracks later, so always aim for a smooth surface. Second, freeze the dough as soon as it is shaped. Don't let it fully proof before freezing. The dough should go into the freezer straight after shaping. Third one, always freeze the dough on a tray first. Place the shaped dough pieces on a tray and freeze them until completely solid. Once frozen, transfer them into a freezer bag or airtight container for long-term storage. Fourth, defrost slowly. Never use heat. Thaw the dough overnight in the refrigerator or at room temperature. Avoid direct heat, hot ovens, or sunlight. These can dry out the dough and affect the final texture. Last one. The last rise matters the most. Once the dough is thawed and reshaped, let it proof until it doubles in size. This final proof is what gives you that soft, fluffy bakery-style texture. So be patient and keep the dough in a warm environment, but not a hot one. So, how was the recipe? Did you like it? If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and share it with your friends and family, especially those who love baking fresh bread at home. Give this recipe a try and let me know how it turns out in the comments below. And of course, subscribe for more soft, fluffy bread recipes coming your way. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.